Welcome back. It's your boy Fresh.
And I'm Mary, and we are a Co-ople of nerds. And today we're going to be reviewing the game Ni No Kuni II.
Oh, almost forgot the box.
So this is a game designed by Steve Margetson, and it was published by Steamforge Games. It plays 1 to 4 players, approximately 30 minutes, and it's for ages 14 and up.
So this game is based on a video game series. There might have been an anime as well. I'm not entirely sure. Probably should have researched that.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So it's a city building dice game that is a cooperative game, obviously, and it's got the fantasy and video game elements to it. It's in a anime style artwork, which was pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to play the video games, but after playing this game, I think I'm going to try to search them out at some point in time and pick them up and try them out. I think they got some for some of the handhelds, which I don't really mess with, but they did have some for PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. So I'll definitely check out the PlayStation 3 ones, and then maybe eventually down the line I'll get a PlayStation 4. Probably after PlayStation 5 comes out. So, yeah, so basically you pick 1 of 4 players, or 1 of 4 characters, and you get these things called, is it Higglebees?
Yeah, the little...
Yeah, they're like these little teardrop shaped characters, and you could pick various missions that line up around the board, and if you beat them, you get resources. You use those resources to make buildings. The buildings give you influence, and you need to have greater influence than the combined influence of the villains in order to win.
After 5 rounds.
After you get 5 turns. So essentially, the more buildings you have, or the more missions you get, the more buildings you can have. That means the more influence you can have, and hope to exceed, not meet, you have to exceed the villain's total. Is there anything else I'm missing before we get into the report card?
No. Each of the characters has its own special ability.
Yep, they have individual player powers. That's a good point, which is nice. I like, makes the characters stand out, gives them something different to do. The Higglebees did not have special characters, so basically you're just picking your favorite colors, your favorite designs. They're all pretty similar. When we get in components, you'll get a better idea of how they look and stuff. I think that's pretty much everything.
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward game, a pretty simple game. And it doesn't take very long to play either. 30 minutes, I would say, is the maximum. You can probably shoot out a game in 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, we were doing, the 2-player cooperative, and I'll say our average game time was probably about 15 minutes. All right, let's go ahead and get into the report card time.
Okay, so story theme. What is your grade for story and theme?
Story, there is no story. We're gonna have to get just one heavy story game, so that way I don't have to say that every video.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are some sort of a hero, and you have to go on different quests, and each quest has its own villain, and the villain will be holding certain resources. So if you beat the villain, then they drop the resources, and you get to take them and use them to buy buildings. And so there's sort of that theme, and then you have the overall big villain at the end, the boss that kind of determines the influence at the end that you need to beat based on the number of players. And so there's sort of a theme story to it. You've got to go on different quests and split up your people among your quests, and you have an ability to split up your power a certain way.
Right. Yeah, I thought that, so I guess we didn't really get into how you beat the quests. So basically, each character will have they have a range combat value, a magic combat value, and a melee combat value. The Higglebees all have 1 dice each, doesn't matter, but each character will have strengths and weakness. Some are good against magic, some are good against melee, etc. So yeah, and then each villain will have a combat method, and so you'll try to match out. If you got a guy that's really good against magic, you'll try to match him up with someone whose defense is magic. That way you have a better chance. So basically, they each have a combat value on them in a particular fighting
and
style.
The value determines the number of dice that you will roll. So if you have
the value on the characters.
On the characters. So if your character has like a melee value of 2, then that means that you get to roll 2 dice.
Right. The Higglebees all have 1, so they each get 1 dice per. Each quest has a number of slots, and so you have to have enough characters to fill each slot. But you can't exceed that number.
If you want.
If you so choose. Other than that, let's see. So when you roll a dice, so let's say, again, let's make a little more sense in the component section when you actually got a visual, but let's say the villain's toughness is 10, and you've got 3 dice worth. You need to exceed 10, so you have to roll at least 11 to defeat them.
Right.
The monsters win the ties. So that's how the dice rolling comes into it, where you're just trying to beat that number. Kind of go back to story and theme now.
Yeah. So what's your grade?
I didn't think there was much of a story. I thought the theme was a little soft. Like the missions don't really have. They just have a title of what you're doing.
Yeah, there's no story behind it. It's
Right.
Just, this is a quest, and that's what it's called. And it's a card. It's just a single card with a value on it.
Right. And there was no. You'd think since this is a role playing game, there would be a little story to the quest, or what you're trying to do. It's just like a 2 or 3 words, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I was a 6 out of 10. For story and theme.
I was a 4 out of 10. I was a little harsher on it.
Yeah.
I really did not feel. I mean, I liked the game and I liked playing the game, but I can't say that I felt really any specific story to it. Even when you go to build buildings in your village, it didn't. I didn't. The buildings don't really work with each other. There's no. It's kind of like you just want to try and get as much influence as possible based on, with the influence that's assigned to that card. But
right.
I didn't really feel like there was
farms produce food, markets produce money, so there is a little bit of symmetry theme there, but yeah, it wasn't, it's just like a fish market. So not really like...
And in the end... To beat the big boss, you're not really fighting him. You're just trying to have more influence than him.
Yeah, and that might tie better into the video game. Maybe if we'd played the video game, that would make a little more sense. Where he's just trying to corrupt the minds of people. He's not trying to kill anyone. Let's see. Next category will go Gameplay. So, sort of piggybacking off your point, where you don't really fight the boss. That was a little bit of a gameplay flaw, in my opinion. Just sort of seemed like you're building up this town, building up your resources, and then... Gotta get the kiddo. Probably have to edit this out. You just want to bring him over here?
Yeah, how do I do put him over here?
Just give him to me. Say hi, JoJo. Tell everyone what you thought of Ni No Kuni II. Oh, mercy. Alright,
So gameplay. What did you do?
gameplay. Yeah, it sort of felt like we were building up a town, an army, resources for a big crescendo, and then the crescendo never happened. The big fight at the end kind of fell flat.
Yeah.
And so I was a 6 out of 10 on gameplay.
I actually gave it higher. I gave it an 8 out of 10 on gameplay because I really enjoyed the game. I liked that you have to use your resources to build a village, and that you have the different resources, and that you have the different character abilities that you can use, and that you kind of have to strategize your missions ahead of time, or your quests ahead of time, and how you're going to defeat the different bad guys. So I really enjoyed the game. I liked that it was quick.
Yep.
And pretty straightforward, but there was also still strategy involved with it. So I gave it an 8.
Yeah, I guess I was a little more disappointed that you never really fought the big baddie.
Yeah.
And it just seemed a little random. Like, sometimes you'd have this huge monster on this dinky little mission that didn't really give you anything. And it's like, well, why do we want to fight him? Like,
Well, because it's random. So
yeah.
the assigned value that you need in order to, I guess the resources that you're going to get if you beat them.
Right.
And the number of slots that you need in order to do that doesn't always match up.
Right. Alright, so components and art. Again, this has a very beautiful anime style artwork.
Very colorful.
Very colorful. This might be seen straight from the game. I'm not entirely sure. The cardboard board, game board, I thought it was really thick, really sturdy, really bright and colorful. We'll get into a little bit of that. So I guess probably go ahead and throw it to Future Doug to cut in the component section. Who knows? Maybe JoJo will do it this time.
You can do it, JoJo.
Alright, let's take a look at the components in the game board. Here's the game board. That center spot is where you put these turn counters. You just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You just stack those right in the middle. Each turn, take one off. Then at the top section here, you'll put one or two bosses. Here is the art for those. And then this is their influence depending on the number of players. So one player game, this is 8, 11, 16, 20. They each have an ability that goes off each turn. One, you place the quests upside down so you don't know what benefits you're going to get. The other one removes quests with the highest number of resources on it. So he kind of slows you down from building out your resources. So that's pretty cool. So whichever one you choose, you get to pick it. We typically do it at random. But that goes there. Here are the 4 characters. We have Roland Crane, Evan Tildrum, Tanny, and Bracken Meadows. And then here are the number of dice you get for each villain fight category. So this is melee, ranged, magic. She's even all the way across. He's better at melee and bad at magic. It's Roland. She is phenomenal at magic and not very good at anything else. She's good at ranged. So each player will pick one of those. They come with their own miniatures. Here is Roland. Let me see if I can get that to focus a little bit. There you go. This is Tanny. Evan. And Bracken Meadows. That's a cool name. And then depending on the number of players you get some of these Higglebees. Again, they all have the same stats, so really it's just a preference on color. So you got a blue one there, fire one, a leaf one, sun one, smoke one, kind of purple slime one. You will have 5 buildings kind of set out to pick from. I didn't quite grab 5, but well, let me actually do this first. So here are the quests. You can see, if I can get the camera to focus okay. Gruff Gruff Granddad. So this, you get 4 experience, 3 gold, and 0 food if you complete that quest. 420. I don't know why I picked a bunch of quests without any food, but I think they actually call it supplies in the game. There you go, there's one. Time for tea. They got some food in there. I just think if they just had, like, you know, a couple sentences down here just to kind of give a little backstory. So in a 2-player game, these will get placed around the board at random. If you are in a 3 or 4-player game, you add these 2. If you're in a 1-player game, you remove these 2. So you would just have a 4. This you have 6, 3 and 4 you have 8. And then here are the enemies. So here we go, we got Fangfish, which I thought that art was just awesome. Scary. Stormy, the dragon. Mossy Monument. Starless Night. Zapple. Kind of reminds me of the Gremlins. Charfinch. And these essentially guard each quest. And again, these are dealt out randomly all along the board here. So if you were to go on a quest, let's just say we got a 4-player game, or no, 2-player game here going. So each character gets 2 Higglebees in a 2-player game. So essentially what you could do is no, I guess been a long day. So see this value here, that green 14. So that means you need to roll greater than 14 on your character. So let's say you had Tanny, so she would get 3 dice because you got to match up green to green. So when you're deciding on your quests, you could say, well, she'll fight him. We'll have Evan go after let's just say we'll have Evan go after this, and then that Higgleby will go alone. So you can see on these quests, these circles here are the number of people or Higglebees required to fulfill that quest. So this Ni No Kuni, the Shy Pirate, only needs one person. So Tanny can do that one alone. Whereas this one here, Chi, the Master Carpenter, needs 2 characters. It doesn't have to be main characters, the Higglebees can fill in. Let's just say you thought, man, that 14, that's just too tough for one character to do alone, so I'm going to put an extra Higglebee there. So now Tanny would get the 3, because it's a green, plus 1, so you would get 4 dice to roll greater than 14. I failed miserably, but the 6 is the sun sign. I thought that was pretty cool too. I like special dice. So I would have failed that quest. This one here, Tanny gets, Evan gets 4 dice because it's a magic, plus 1 for the Higglebee. So I got 5 dice to roll greater than 10. And I do that easily. So there's 10 and 18. So we would beat this quest. We would get the rewards listed here. Some of these characters will have additional rewards when defeated. So this one will get 1 gold and 3 experience. In this example, this character did not have any, so we would not get any of those. So basically we would reach in and grab 4 experience tokens, 2 gold tokens, and we wouldn't get any food tokens because there's none. There are also these little benefits, or one-time use consumables. So this is an angel tier. It allows you to re-roll 1 dice. This one here, oh, the name is escaping me. So this is a Soaraway suite, and this allows you to add 1 dice prior to rolling. Then once you gather all your resources, then you can go and look at some buildings. Here we got the Humble Bazaar that provides 1 gold each turn. This little symbol here means it is upgradable. It costs 2 experience, 2 gold, and 1 food. Sleepy Ranch provides 1 apple or 1 food each turn. Spellworks, each hero adds 1 to their magic fight value. So in this case, Evan would go from 4 to 5, which that would be amazing. So here we have the Institute of Innovation. Each time you build a kingdom card, you can reduce its cost by 1. And again, we can look for this symbol, that means it's upgradable. So we can pay these costs, put it on the map, and then later find this, pay the new costs, and upgrade that. So essentially what it does is it goes from 2 influence to 3 influence. You reduce the cost by 1, now you reduce the cost by 2, but you do have to pay both values each time. So these are the influences that you're ultimately trying to get. So let's just say this was our board. We did not have a very good round. Let's say on each turn as these quests are defeated, you remove the monster, and replace them with a new random quest and new random monster. Let's just say this was our last turn. This was the end of turn 5. We just finished off 5. Essentially what you would do is count up the remaining influence. So we got a 2-player game, so we're going to take 11 plus 5 is 16, plus 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. And clearly we did not get anywhere near 22 points, so this would be a loss. We had 5. That was just sort of a example from the cards I thought would be fun to show. So that'd be it. We performed poorly and lost. But that is the components section, so I'll send it back to Pass Dog. Have fun with that sick baby.
So what is your score for components?
Components, I was an 8. I thought the cardboard quality was really good. I thought the card quality was really good. They felt slick. They felt sturdy.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that they put the miniatures in. It would have been very easy for them to just throw in more tokens for the characters as they did the Higglebees or just cards. This one you get cards and the miniatures, so if you're into painting you can do that. So I was very high on that. I really liked the art style, and I thought it was familiar yet new. And so I give it an 8.
I give it a 7.5, so I'm pretty close. For the same reasons, it felt like sturdy cardboard, and I liked the miniatures that came with it. They're paintable, so we could always paint them. We have a painting kit that we went to experiment with. And the art on it is absolutely beautiful. You know, it's classic anime style, but it's very colorful, very pretty. And then, I thought the dice were pretty cool. I like that the 6 on the dice is the elaborate star. So like I said, 7.5. I would say it's pretty good.
All right. So overall,
Your overall score.
my overall score is 6.5. That may seem a little low, but I guess I just thought, well, this is a board game based on a role-playing game, so for it to not have much story,
Yeah.
I really dinged it for that. I would have liked to had a little, 2 or 3 sentences on each mission about why you're doing it, or what it's for, or who you're helping, or just something to try to bring that to life. Whereas this felt kind of flat. It really didn't matter. The mission didn't matter. It was just, and for a game based on a role-playing game, which is typically not much gameplay, just more of a book that you're playing on a TV, I would have liked to had a little bit more there. So I'm going to go 6.5.
I'm going to go 7. So pretty close. I really enjoyed playing it, like I said, just because it is quick and it has just the right amount of complexity to it for a nice quick game. So something that you can bring to the table if you just want to, if you don't want to have to think too hard, but you do want to play a game, like a cooperative game.
Yeah.
So I did enjoy it, but again, like you said, I would have given it higher, I think, if the story had related more to the gameplay, because the quests are they're just cards. It doesn't feel anything like a real quest.
Right.
So then we categorize it into
one of 3 categories: play, which means it'll frequently hit the table; display, which means it'll sit on the shelf, but you'll break it out on special occasions; and stay away, it means leave it at the store for someone else to buy. So which category do we put it in?
display. So this one is going to be a display. I think we like it enough to keep it around so that we can play it every now and again, but I don't think it's going to be something that we play on a regular basis, more something that we just want to grab a quick game one night before bed. And
then, that is nice, especially when you got whiny babies that don't want to go night-night. But I like the speed of it. It's a simple dice game, which does have a little bit of thought to it. So overall, I was happy with it, and we'll definitely keep it in the collection. And I definitely want to check out the video games and then break this back out and kind of see how it stacks up to them.
Yeah, so feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions or comments with regard to if you've played the game and maybe you know a little more about the gameplay than we do, and let us know what you think.
Yeah. Till then, we'll see you next time.
Bye. Thanks. You got him?
Jojo, you're YouTube famous.
Laboratory drink.
Let everyone know how it is.